there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2024 film Nosferatu, and this is directed by Robert Eggers and stars Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe and Bill Skarsgård. When a vampire who is infatuated with a young woman comes to town, death starts to creep around every corner. Now, I've been looking for this since the trailers dropped, really. I thought this had a really uniquely visual style to it, just by going by them trailers. But the original Nosferatu, as good as it is, and as much as people love it, it probably is due a remake. It's a movie that was made in the silent era now, wasn't it? And to move it up over 100 years later, I don't think too many can argue that this remake is justified, let's put it that way. And who better to be in the director's chair than Robert Eggers? He does love a history time piece movie, doesn't he? This is all taking place in like the 1830s Germany and stuff. And it just felt like it was a movie that was made for him. I was a big fan of The Northman. That was one of my favourite movies of 2022, was it? And The Witch was a really solid horror movie, I thought. I wasn't too big on The Lighthouse, but I thought this is in very safe hands here from a very competent director. And whilst I don't think this story is the most interesting story in the world, people might call that blasphemy now, but to me, I just see it as Count Orlok trying to get a piece of ass, to cut a long story short there. But there's enough meat on the bones here, definitely. There's enough going on surrounding the main focus. There's lots of really interesting side characters with their own story paths and stuff. So yeah, it does immerse you enough and get you fully on board for what it's going for. However, the absolute best thing about this movie is the visual look of the film, along with Robert Eggers' direction and where he really focuses the camera at times. Now, whether you're a fan of Eggers or not, and you're an upcoming film student, I don't think you could do any worse than to study this guy, because the attention to detail that he puts in virtually every shot is absolutely immaculate. Now, there are so many shots in this film that are just so masterfully done. It just absolutely gives off that whole gothic feel the movie is going for. But Robert Eggers just absolutely pours his heart onto the screen here. Every single image is just feels like a passion project. You know, you can tell that he really wanted to get this right, and he has just done everything he can to make it look absolutely sensational. And it does. I mean, you are also transported to a time period here where you can feel every single cold whisper in the wind. The costume design as well is just spot on, giving more emphasis to where this movie takes place. But the real star of the show is the lighting. I mean, this movie just shows what you can actually do with lighting, with great lighting. And I got to take my hat off to everyone who worked on making this movie look like it did. I mean, there are wonderfully well-lit castle hallways, shadows lurk around every corner. There's even some throwbacks to the original movie here and there that you might know what I'm talking about if you've seen that film. That is just so well done here. And the way Eggers decides to light Count Orlok in this film is just such a genius decision. He is introduced early-ish on into the film, but we never feel like we've fully seen what he looked like until the end of the movie, really, because Robert Eggers just lets you see what he wants you to see. He is so well lit, surrounded by shadows and stuff, and it just gives you enough to build what this character kind of looks like in our heads, really. And I just think that was a genius idea for showing this character so early on in the movie, but not fully unmasking the demon until the end, really. So he really danced around the lighting and the shadows so well here to make Count Orlok always feel like a really creepy character. And this has really helped along with Bill Skarsgård's performance. For me, he was the star of the show here. But the voice he puts on, I thought this had to be enhanced by some sort of technology or something. But no, apparently he went to an opera coach and he learned him how to get this real deep, haunting voice. And that just adds so much personality and character to a character that we can't really even see all that much. Now, although no one really stood out as much as Skarsgård here, this is still a very solid bunch of performances in an all-star studded cast. Willem Dafoe just brings his A game. I mean, it's absolute ease to him now, isn't it? Just acting is just second nature to him. You can see it in all of his performances. The older he gets, the better he gets. You got Nicholas Hoult here, who really does play a main protagonist that you really can latch on to. He's someone you can get behind, really, and follow his journey in this story. But I'm loving what Nicholas Hoult is doing lately with movies like The Menu and Renfield and stuff. He's really made a massive sort of comeback, if you like. Lily Rose Depp does a wonderful job here too, playing this really haunted woman who feels very fragile, and you can just tell she is absolutely terrified throughout the movie. But everyone else along, all the other side characters and stuff, everyone does a solid job. There's no performances here where I thought, oh, he's not really, on level with all the other characters. It was just solid, and the whole dialogue that everyone uses in this movie felt like a little bit of a Victorian era type style of English language. Yes, I know this movie takes place in Germany, I know, but that's just an example of what it was going for. And I just thought this was, again, emphasizing the time period so well. Now, I gotta say, the first hour of this movie is all centered around build-up and what is about to ensue towards the horror side of things for the second half of the movie. And I thought this was so well done. You are fully engaged into this whole journey that Nicholas Hoult is going on, but what is he heading towards? What is the whole sole purpose of this Count Orlok character? And I was just fully gripped for that first hour. Unfortunately, I don't think the second half of the movie was executed as well. It's still a good second half of the movie, but it just felt like there was a lot more promise there with that whole first hour build-up, and it didn't quite deliver, sadly. But yeah, for me to prefer the first half towards the second half after a great build-up isn't the best thing for your film, but still fully enjoyable throughout. I just preferred the first hour more than when things start to get going, really. I also did feel like the runtime was dragging a little bit just towards that third act there. I mean, the first hour is slow, but it's in a good way where you're fully immersed. You always feel like a mystery is around the corner. You're always thinking, okay, what's coming next? What's coming next? Where's this character going? What's going on with that character? And in the final third of this movie, I just feel like there was a 20-minute little lull there where nothing too much was happening. And it just felt like it could have been cut, or something else could have took place there to stop that little bit of a drag towards the runtime. And I was never bored or anything like that, but I was just thinking, this feels like it's going on just a little bit too long here, and it didn't need to be. I mean, it kind of just slows down right towards the finish line there, but I gotta say, I was also pretty surprised to see some things in here that I don't think Robert Eggers would usually do. Some of them being some very cheap jump scares. Now, there is only one or two, really. I mean, the movie doesn't rely on it like lots of mainstream horror movies or not anything like that. But there was one or two moments where I just telegraphed a jump scare, and I was like, oh, that felt a little bit out of place and a little bit cheap for the master Robert Eggers here. And also, there were some moments that are straight out of the exorcism subgenre book. Now, when you see all these exorcism movies, there's certain things that happen in it all the time involving screaming and stuff with certain characters, and I think there was quite a bit of that here, but it just felt like it was straight out of their movies, and I really was taken out the film when these moments happen. When you see the film, you'll know what I mean, but it just felt very, very cheap for a Robert Eggers movie. However, guys, Nosferatu is a fine movie. There's a lot to like here with some very memorable and creepy-ass scenes, but it just didn't give me the lasting impression that I kind of hoped it would have given me. I was expecting so much more from this film, and it kind of just was fine. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Nosferatu a 7 out of 10. Not my favourite Robert Eggers film in his filmography, but still a very solid effort. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Nosferatu is that the castle scenes were filmed in the Princeton Castle in the Czech Republic, the same location that was used for Werner Herzog's film Nosferatu the Vampire from 1979. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Don't forget to check out more of my 2024 horror movie reviews. I'll leave that in the link down below. What did you think of Nosferatu? I am really wanting to give this a rewatch at some point, so maybe it will grow on me even more. But for now, these are just my initial thoughts. Thanks so much guys. If horror is your sort of thing, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. It'll really help me out. You all take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.